I imagine, like me, you get very excited when you feel like there's something in the Bible or in the gospel that we're actually living. And that's exactly the opportunity we have, I think, from today's gospel. Please let me explain how this passage that I just proclaimed can come alive in our lives and in our parish as well, which is really exciting. And that sign that we put over the front door there, welcome home, that can really come alive in the time ahead. So let's go to this gospel again. This is what's called, part of what's called the missionary discourse in the Gospel of Matthew. These 5 great speeches, 5 great discourses in Matthew. The first one being the Sermon on the Mount, and the second one being this missionary discourse. So in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus tells his followers, his little ones, you and me, his disciples, he tells us we have something to say to the world. We have something to give. And this is what it is. And so he lays it out in that wonderful Sermon on the Mount. But now he's saying, here's how you're going to give it to the world, through this teaching that I give. So Jesus has he has a design for you and for me. A plan of how we can share that good news that he gave us. Not only that, he has a design and a plan, but that he has a reward for those who listen to us. If a person gives you or me even a cup of cold water because we bring the gospel, they will receive their reward, he promises. So this design of Jesus works in this way, that there's going to be, when we try to spread the good news, there's going to be a give and take. There's going to be a transaction that goes on, so to speak, an interaction between us and the people to whom we go. We bring something, but we must receive something as well. So what do we bring? We bring a message, good news, and we bring a presence. As Jesus says, whoever welcomes you, one of my little ones, welcomes me. And whoever welcomes me, welcomes the one who sent me. So people who welcome the messengers of the good news receive God. They welcome God. But those messengers come in a needy way. We need something from the people to whom we go. For Jesus says his missionaries are to have no material support. They're not even to have at times a cup of cold water. They might need that cup of cold water from the people to whom they go. They will have no purse, no food, no change of clothes, etc. So they go out very much in need of hospitality from the people to whom they go. In this way, Jesus makes it a test of their faith, but a test of the generosity of the people to whom they go. For to the extent that the community welcomes the missionary, to that extent will the community be rewarded. To the extent that they provide material support and welcome, they will receive the reward that Jesus promises. As I say, our parish has an opportunity to live all this out in a very real way over the next couple of years. Imagine 2 years of this. The apostles were probably in their early 20s when Jesus sent them out. We have a chance to welcome a group of young people in their early 20s, perhaps between 5 to 8 of them, men and women both, following the principle of youth evangelizing youth, just as the apostles were youth evangelizing a young world of the time. It's called the NET teams, the National Evangelization Teams. We've already had the NET team here on retreats over the years, with our grade 7s and 8s. They were a roaring success whenever they came. They have a way of making instant contact with the kids and building instant trust and community between them and the kids. Imagine having a net retreat like that for 2 whole years in the parish. They will bring the promised presents that Jesus gave. We must supply the material needs, the housing, the meals, and a welcoming parish base. Welcome home to them. We're in negotiations at the moment, so please pray for the success of these negotiations. If they succeed, come October 1st, the NET team will come to our parish and be here over the next 2 years. If they agree to come to us, so we have to provide meals, billeting, but we have to talk it up with the community. We have to own this process. It has to become part of our parish. If they come, they will train this team of 5 to 8 young missionaries, 600 hours each, specifically aimed at our parish and its needs. Even if there are new physical distancing restrictions in the fall that we can't even plan for now, can't even imagine maybe, they have a 5-step program for dealing with different degrees of restrictions. For instance, if there's a complete lockdown, then they will go very strongly online in our parish, reaching out with online presence. And it goes all the way to if there's a 20% return to school, 50%, 80%, or complete return to school. They have plans for evangelizing in all those scenarios. You see how well thought out this is. 5 years ago in the parish here, we had a questionnaire, you might recall it. And we ended the questionnaire by saying, what are your comments? And the overwhelming comments of people were that we need to do more for the young people. We need to see the young people, especially on Sundays. Do something for the youth. That has not changed. We see new homes, new projects going up all around us. And we ask the question, how do we get to those young families? We've been trying. Believe me, we've been trying with varying degrees of success. Could this be the moment that we've been waiting for? When things look darkest, could this be the time when the light that Jesus said we are to be to the world, you are the light of the world, could this be the time when the light shines brightest? The darker it gets, the brighter the light shines. This fall, this winter, what will be there for the young people? Will there be sports? Probably not. Will there be entertainment? Not much. Will there be school? We don't know. Could this be the time when they would be open to the good news? As I say, we need to get behind this. There's a story of how Jesus went up to a man and said, my friend here, I want you see that big stone over there? I want you to push against it until I come back. So being obedient, his follower there, the man, went and he's pushing against the stone. And years later, Jesus comes back and he says, how are you doing, my young man? And he says, I'm doing very poorly and it's all your fault. And Jesus says, what do you mean? He says, well, you told me to move this stone here, and I've been pushing against it for 5 years, and nothing has moved. Jesus said, I didn't tell you to move the stone. I told you to push against it. And because you've been faithful to that, watch what I can do. And Jesus pulls out a lever, and the stone is lifted. Could the NET team be that lever? And could this be the time for the stone to move? The time when the young people who are so much around us here, will hear and listen. So what we need to do is live out that sign we have over the door, welcome home. We need to welcome the net people home, that they may welcome our youth home. Jesus designed it this way.